my granny was 95.
When my granny was 95.
She did PT to stay alive.
She did PT to stay alive.
When my granny was 97.
When my granny was 97.
She up at night and went to heaven.
She up at night and went to heaven.
She met St. Peter at the pearly gates.
She met St. Peter at the pearly gates.
Saying, gee, St. Petey, I hope I'm not late.
She St. Petey, I hope I'm not late.
St. Petey said with a big old grin.
St. Petey said with a big old grin.
Drop down, Granny, and give me 10.
Drop down, Granny, and give me 10.
Saying, hey, all the way.
Hey, all the way.
We run every day.
We run every day.
Hey, all the way.
Hey, all the way.
That's the COA.
That's the COA.
Get out of my way, stand aside.
Get out of my way and stand aside.
A SEAL team member is coming by.
A SEAL team member is coming by.
Get out of our way, we're coming through.
Get out of my way, we're coming through.
And if you don't, gonna mess with you.
If you don't, gonna mess with you.
If you're smart, don't mess with me.
If you're smart, don't mess with me.
'Cause we're the sons of the UDT.
We're the sons of the UDT.
Hoo-yah, hey.
Hoo-yah, hey. DT Day.
Hoo-yah, hey.
Hoo-yah, hey.
Just another running day.
Just another running day.
Running through the jungle.
Running through the jungle.
It's hot and it's dry.
It's hot and it's dry.
Can't stop running.
Can't stop running.
For to stop is to die.
Or to stop is to die.
When up jumped the cobra.
When up jumped the cobra.
He was looking at me.
He was looking at me.
Wanna be SEAL.
Wanna be SEAL.
Gotta go through me.
Gotta go through me.
So I grabbed that cobra.
So I grabbed that cobra.
And I stabbed him twice.
And I stabbed him twice.
And I had that cobra.
And I had that cobra.
For dinner that night.
For dinner that night.
Singing 1, 2, 3, and 4, hey.
1, 2, 3, and 4, hey.
Run me, run me, run me some more, hey.
Run me, run me, run me some more, hey.
1, 2, 3, and 4, yeah.
1, 2, 3, and 4, yeah.
Wanna be SEALs, run some more, yeah.
Wanna be SEALs, run me some more, yeah.
2 old ladies lying in a bed.
2 old ladies lying in a bed.
One rolled over to the other and said,
one rolled over to the other and said,
I wanna be a UDTer.
I wanna be a UDTer.
I wanna drink a little more beer.
I wanna drink a little more beer.
UDTer.
UDTer.
Drink more beer.
Drink more beer.
I wanna be a mountain climber.
I wanna be a mountain climber.
I want to go higher and higher.
Hey!
Hoo-yah!
Hey!
Hoo-yah!
Hey!
Hoo-yah!
Hey!
Hoo-yah!
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you all to this conversation that I'm going to have with a good friend who I've known for several years now. His name is Chris Beck. I met Chris several years ago when I was doing the Straight Outta Combat radio show, and he was phenomenal as an interviewee. His story was really cool. He served his country with great distinction, did some interesting things. And then, since that time, we've been in touch with each other. Changes have been going on in our careers and in our lives. And I'm glad that we've been able to keep in touch because he's got a new book coming out. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we get going, Chris, I appreciate your time. And we're going to talk a little bit about your upbringing. We don't have to go crazy like elementary school stuff. And then we'll talk about how you got into the Navy SEALs. And barring security or whatever clearances, we'll talk about the Navy SEALs, and then we'll talk about life outside the SEALs. And then very, very freaking interested, man, in hearing about your new book, Prodigal Seal. We got to talk about it. And then there's a few other questions we can throw in there. But anyhow, welcome to the conversation, Chris. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, brother. It has been several years, man. It's cool.
It's crazy,
And
you
a lot of
know,
conversations.
a lot of conversations about all kinds of different things, relevant things, and I'm not, I'm not sucking up to Chris, but let me tell you, folks, something.
Nah.
We go
Here,
through
let me
our
do something
lives.
silly while you're doing this.
There you go.
What is it?
Those
You
are
get
all
to focus
yours.
on it. It's
Nice,
not
man.
focusing.
No, it's focused, and I
It's like
see.
so this is the stupidity of my life. And when I mention it like that, you're gonna brag about me and tell me about all this stuff and experience.
No, no,
Let me
no.
make sure that I get the rebuttal that this was like some of the dumbest part of my life because of who I served.
Yeah. Well,
Just leave it there.
we can get to there, but what I wanted to get to a little bit different, but we go through our lives and we
Yeah.
meet all kinds of interesting people. We do all kinds of interesting things, but very rarely, and I say this with all authenticity and honesty, very rarely do we ever come across a philosopher, somebody who evokes deep thought, critical thinking, logic, and reason at much higher levels than the average Jane or Joe on the street. And Chris, I got to tell you, man, in the conversations we've had and some of the places that we've gone to in conversation, you, my brother, my friend, my fellow human being, you are a legitimate philosopher. And philosophers at one time in human history were very well respected.
Mhm.
Things have shifted. People
Yes.
don't think as deeply as they used to. We see that in etiquette,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
etiquette has been thrown out the window. So
Yeah.
I wanted to get that in there. A little bit different about the ribbons. Those are all great.
Well, about the philosophy, though, I am a student of Nietzsche, a direct student from Friedrich Nietzsche. So my philosophy professor back when I was in college, William DeBrell, amazing philosopher, and he was directly also under Nietzsche, which makes me in the lineage of Nietzsche. And so I've always been deep, deep into philosophy. And I know that a lot of my life, and you're going to hear my story, and you're going to be like, what the heck? If you're such a deep thinker, how could you be so stupid? And I think that's the reason why I'm such an idiot sometimes, is because I am thinking deep, and it's Socratic wisdom, I'm a wise fool, the more I learn, the less I know,
See, I'm going
you
to
know.
learn something today, and
So,
hopefully the
yeah,
listeners will too. Chris, I can relate to that, brother, because I think I've been a fool many times in my life as
yeah,
well, and always pushing the envelope, whether it was skydiving or motorcycles
yeah.
or even in the
Oh, yeah,
services
push the limit.
as a
Yeah,
machine gunner, always,
yeah,
what's the next mission? But
yeah,
let's go
yeah.
to, and thank you for that. And it's nice to know that tidbit of information. Let's go to the Chris Beck childhood. Tell me a little bit
Okay.
about it. Let us know about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania, and I had a good childhood. I mean, I'm looking at my life right now, and I compare it to others, and then I make that mistake. I compared it to others. And I think that's the biggest problem we have in our lives. That my life was a life I lived on a farm in Pennsylvania, and I had a football coach for a dad who like was no holds barred as far as discipline goes. 'Cause he was a football coach, and that was the discipline of the 1970s, the 60s and 70s. So I was a child of my era, the 70s, the X generation. We pride ourselves on having the key to my front door when I was 6 years old and taking care of myself. It's not real. Okay, I didn't really have the front door to my key, but the thing is, the X generation, we were the generation that definitely grew up by ourselves out there roughing it around. You leave the house at daybreak and you come back, just at dusk to make it back for dinner. And that was pretty much it. And when you got in trouble, you were in trouble. You got a whacking by your pop. It was a belt, it was a paddle, it was a switch out from the old oak tree. It was whatever they used. And that is almost every kid in 1970s, and that's boys. Now, girls, on the other hand, because I'm talking about the baby boomer generation that raised us. So the boomer generation was like females, they were all princesses. And you couldn't even let them sleep with a pea under 17 mattresses. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they
I
were
do.
so babied and so coddled and so everything. And I think that was the generation that raised me and the kids that were born in the 50s and 60s. they got the tail end of that, and that's why they became hippies. So basically, the baby boomers, they created hippies, they created all the trans, they created gay, they created all of it because they used Dr. Spock for their baby rearing, and they did ridiculous stuff in raising children. But you know what? They did the best they could. They had a whole bunch of broken tools that were handed down to them by who knows what. The stories I hear about my great grandparents and my grandparents is like, dang, I'm glad I didn't grow up in my dad's generation, because that would have been growing up under the Depression generation, you know, teaching you. So the thing is I grew up in a generation where I grew up and I got the paddling and I got the discipline and I got left alone and isolated and forgotten about. And so I made my own rules. And when I stuck to my own rules, I didn't have the Father in heaven's rules. I started wearing a dress. You know, I did a lot of stupid stuff because I was going by my own rules, because that's what X generation was taught. We were taught, hey, here's your skateboard and go make up your own rules. Oh, it's a skateboard. Let's go do this. We came back all skinny and bloody and whatever happened to us. And our parents were like, right on. Are you learning anything? And we go, oh, I don't know. That was our generation, man. So yeah, I grew up pretty rough. And I hated my dad. I wrote in the bottom of stuff, and I wrote about my dad that I hated him and I wanted to leave my childhood house. And I left at 16 or 16. And I lived in the woods with a motorcycle. And I lived in a lean-to that I built myself out in the woods in a pine trees. I used to go to this halfway house, and there was a couple of prisoners that worked there too, like ex-cons. I think because the dude was just super generous, but it was a Bible place. It was a religious place. And so here's the other kicker is I grew up very evangelical Christian. I grew up with the Bible where if you'd get beat by the Bible, basically. So I grew up in Christian schools, Asheville Christian Academy, Evangelical Christian School, Memphis, Tennessee, under Adrian Rogers, the Asheville Christian Academy under somebody else, and then Lynchburg Christian Academy under Jerry Falwell. And so I was getting paddled because of the Bible for most of my junior high and into high school. So I grew up like that. So that's why the prodigal son story matches my life so like big time. I was given everything I needed. I had food on the table, roof over my head. I had everything I ever needed. We had horses and cows and pigs. In those days, I grew up evangelical Christian under Jerry Falwell, getting paddled every day at school. And so, yeah, when I had a chance to rebel, boy, did I rebel.
Let me see if I can take this apart a little bit here. So you learned survival 101 at a very early age. Yes. To create your own rules, but also live by the environment that was around you, yes, and to adapt and overcome when most kids were being coddled. So,
and I was in the criminal side too. We were stealing and doing all kinds of stuff. So I got kicked out of the 7-Eleven up the corner forever.
What's the statute of limitations on that? But anyhow, we should.
I don't know. I'm good now. That. Stealing bikes, stealing candy, 7-Eleven, kicked out forever. All kinds of stuff. Because I was walking on my own rules. If I didn't get caught, I'm good.
That's crazy. You know, I was a 1959 baby boomer kid. I was like the last year of the baby boomers. But my dad was from Pennsylvania, Steel City and all.
Wait, what year were you born?
1959.
59.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, like a day over 58.
I love you, man. But
no, I'm sorry. I'm just messing with you. I've mixed it up.
No, I know. So my dad was the School of Hard Knocks. But anyhow, so we did have some good music. You know, one of the good things that came out of that era, and I think it was anti-establishment, because we were no way hippies. My dad couldn't stand hippies, right? And when my sisters tried to do that stuff, he was like, you know, no, this is not going to happen.
Wait, but you were in a generation almost to be a hippie. You would have been a hippie.
Almost. But my music was hippie-ish. You know, I listened to all the good rock. But we also created.
Why was your dad so anti-hippie? Did he know that hippies were part of the establishment?
Well, he was old school, and he just was like, you toe the line.
So he's called what we would call as a white hat. He's on the white side. Yeah. The hippies would have been a dark hat or the black hat. The hippies were trying to break the establishment of the white hat, and that was a Hegelian dialectic happening. And you were caught in the middle.
Total middle, Chris. And you know, my dad, if I had to. My dad, God bless him, he's been gone almost 20 years. But if I had to choose a character for my dad, it would have to be, who was that guy in All in the Family? Archie Bunker.
Yeah, Archie Bunker.
That was totally my dad. I would think he was more on the athletic side mentally than on the intellectual side. But I did bow up to him once. It didn't work out too well for me. But anyhow, but what I'm seeing with you is you were like I said, on the tip of the spear, writing your own rules, surviving at a young age,
Yeah.
and getting indoctrinated into a spirituality that the world wanted you to have. So we're in high school. What are you thinking about after high school, Chris? What are you doing, man?
Well, even in high school, I knew I wanted to go to college. And that was the generation also. It's a generational curse that we thought college was something that we had to have,
Right.
you know? And so I went to college and I knew that I wanted to go into the military. So I went to a military college. So I signed up. I tried to get into West Point, you know, and I couldn't get the congressional endorsement.
Recommendations.
You had to have a congressional endorsement back in those days.
Yeah.
You had to be either a ring knocker child and connected or have congressional something. So it was really tight, or come up from one of the academies. And so I just had no chance. I was a B and C student because I didn't care about school. I was so bored and so like it sucked so bad to be in school that I just didn't really work super hard.
I got that. So what
I wanted to go to college. I went to Virginia Military Institute.
VMI, right down the road from where I'm at. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that was the thing all through high school, you know, I knew what I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm going military. You know, my heroes were Chesty Puller, you know, and Patton and all of that World War II era, you know, Montgomery, all of them, you know, Marshall, you know, I really liked Marshall because he brought it through the whole thing, you know, and then on to the Marshall Plan and then trying to recover
after World War II. Yeah.
You know, making peace and building more than just the war part. That's why I appreciate General Marshall so much more than a lot of the other ones.
So you're in school, you're kind of, and when you're a teenager, you're doing kind of clandestine operations, you know,
yep.
Maybe against the law, but we're not going to go there.
But I never did drugs and all that stuff because I knew I was going into the military. So I was always clean as far as like the 1950s clean care. Like I was a clean cut kid.
Did you drink any
as far as that went? I was a drinker, but I wasn't really a heavy drinker because I was kind of isolated from, like, I wasn't really a popular
all
kid.
That stuff. Yeah.
I was not popular.
Well, you know what? But in college, I don't think at VMI there was there.
Yeah, then there was no drinking.
Yeah,
yeah.
They would probably kick your ass out if they caught you drinking, man.
They pretty much did.
Yeah. So
that's why I ended up only going there for 3.5 years.
Mr. Hard Charger. You got the foundation, right? You get through VMI.
Yep.
You're kind of on the edge of some stuff because you're a little bit of you're doing things your way, like Frank
just
Sinatra.
One real quick one, stay on that thing, but partnership up. Remember strength through partnership, about peace through partnership. Was at VMI, I did have a really good, tight core group of friends. Nice. On the lacrosse team was Ron Moss and Ron Kinley. Well, it was a bunch of Rons. And then I had, you know, Vic Stradle. There was a bunch of dudes who I was very, very tight with. Mike Owens. There's a lot of dudes who were my partners who I did have allies and I was able to make it. And I'll tell you what, a lot of kids today, they think that they don't need anybody. And so saying, I'm going to do whatever I want as a kid. Wow, man, you need partners. So even in my childhood, I had my good buddies like Brad Cornelius and a lot of other good buddies. And even at the high school years and in college, I had those more buddies. And in the SEAL teams, I had my buddies like Mike Everett and, you know, Mackenzie and all those guys. I could name off, you know, dozens of them, you know, Jeff Higgs, you know, and I had these good friends and allies and partnerships all the way through there. So I was isolated and I was on my own and I did a lot of stupid stuff on my own, but I still always had my really good partnership friends, like kind of, that's what I'm telling you, man, the military, what they're doing right now, what he's saying, build up your partnerships, man. You got to go back to FID, foreign internal defense, you know, and that's what I did through my whole life.
Well, so, you know, that goes back to that gratitude and that collaboration and partnership.
Collaboration. That's a better word.
You know what else I get out of that, Chris?
Because you were painting me out to be too much of a lone wolf isolate.
No.
And I still had a lot of good friends. Like I'm the most humble person on earth. Probably forever that ever walked the earth. Probably.
Well, yeah, and I'm not pointing
just kidding, man.
Wolf. No.
I was doing the Trump thing.
That you understand.
No, never about humility, man. I just try to do what I think is best, or just try to do the best I can. You know.
Yeah, but out of that, it's kind of like an equal sign. It's like gratitude equals humility, humility equals gratitude. You've also mentioned etiquette and you respect for each other. You know, this whole thing about peace through strength. You know, there is a wrinkle to it that's just total nonsense. Being a bully is not necessarily the best place to be, and sometimes I think
that's what they're turning into.
That's what they're turning into. Is they're turning into a bully. We just can't have it our way.
We already are. I mean, are we kidding ourselves?
Yeah. No, but that's true. We can't have it our way all the time. And again, I don't fear anything, but I think that whenever that happens, there's like the pendulum. You know that, Chris?
Yeah.
If
It's
you're all
swinging
this
right now.
way, have
Yeah.
fun. Enjoy it
It's
while it lasts,
swinging
because
hard.
pretty soon it's going to swing this way and it's going to go that way. So
Yeah.
we have to be level-headed and we have
Yeah.
to think. And
Yeah.
one thing in our
Critical
conversations, people
thinking.
can't catch it now, but you and I have always thought
Yeah.
about the conversation and what's going on around us. So, I don't want to paint you out to be a lone wolf, because I know you're not. But I
Yeah.
know
I just wanted to let you know
also,
that I had a lot of good
yeah,
friends along the way.
if
And
you
I thank
needed
all
to
of them.
be on your own, I have no doubt that you are going to survive. So you get
Yeah.
out of VMI. How soon is it before you're standing in Navy SEAL training? What happened? How'd that go down?
So after VMI, like I said, I was kind of really bucking the system and not doing real well. So I was only at VMI for 3 years and a summer school. And I didn't get my summer school. I missed it by like 0.02 points. I missed it by like this just point zero something points for me to be able to go back the next semester. And they were like, nope. And I was like, seriously, man, I just got an A, and it was dynamics with computers, which I had to do. It was a mechanical engineering course, like 300 level mechanical engineering, but it was basically dynamics that you had to program with computers into the dynamic situations that they gave you as problems. So if these two balls hung by strings this long, you do this and you slam them together, we had to make a computer simulation using Fortran and Pascal or whatever language we chose to write the program to simulate those balls coming together what all the reactions would be. And I got like a B in that. And I got an A in another one, and it was like they wouldn't let me back in. So it's like, and all I'm saying that for is that the flexibility for some of these institutions is not like human, it's digital, it's ones and zeros. When we as humans were analog creatures, we're not digital. And this is a problem right now. We live in a digital world, and they're trying to make everything digital.
All the information.
The thing is, nothing in nature is digital.
Chris, they're trying to make all the information digital. And
exactly.
So they're putting numbers on us.
They're
tagging us. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. Yeah.
And so I missed it by like this ridiculous small amount of points to be able to get back in there. Then I ended up getting a scholarship through lacrosse to a university here in New York. Well, I don't even want to mention because they're so evil, which I found out on the back end. But I ended up going to a university. League? What's that?
Ivy League?
Close. They're one of the junior Ivy Leagues. They came up in that time period, so they kind of think they are, but they're not. But they were a very prestigious private college at one time. All they teach now is how to make your hair blue and mirror your, as a dude to marry a husband, or if a female to marry a wife. That's what they teach now.
So that would say they've gone over to the social dark side. I'm just saying.
It's going to get fixed, though. Yeah. The thing is they don't straighten up fast. That pendulum, like you said, when it starts swinging, it's going to swing fast, and they're going to go bankrupt. And then the other school near them is going to take over. Then all they're going to have is vocational and like good teaching. Like there's a 4-year college, one right across the street from the other. So here's the crappy liberal arts one that only teaches blue hair. Over here, you got these guys teaching how to be husbandry and farmers and raise cattle and also do build buildings and HVAC and plumbing. It's all on a 2-year state college, but then they have a 4-year also. They're teaching everything we need in America right here in Alfred.
I don't ever
except the blue hair crap.
Yeah, I don't ever remember teachers anywhere, man, from first grade all the way through high school. And even in college.
You don't need to teach people to have blue hair. They'll do it on their own.
I didn't learn ideology, man. I learned the course subjects. Yeah. I learned what we
don't need to teach gay. Yeah. If they're truly gay from birth, you don't need to teach it.
Yeah.
If you're truly trans from birth, you don't need to teach it. The thing is they're teaching it from kindergarten age all the way up through. So it's like a mind virus that's been in there the whole time. So he goes, well, none of the girls like me, so maybe I'm gay. And that's because none of the girls like you because you play games all the time in your basement. You weigh 250 pounds as a 14-year-old. And of course the girls are not going to really dig you because you're in your basement all the time. You don't shower, you don't shower, take a shower, lose some weight, get off the games.
You're playing role-playing games. You're not living in a real world. Like you said, a digital world.
And the girls won't like you. Chill out, dude.
Yeah. I get it.
All the other guys are going to love you. So maybe, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. It's true.
Get out of your bedroom, get off the games, take a shower, and get out there and do something. And I'm talking from personal experience. Because I got trapped into the transgender thing, as most of you guys know.
Yeah, that story's out there. We've seen it. A lot of people know about it. But so anyhow, so you go to college, you get out of there.
Oh, I get to the second college. I graduate there, and I ended up just saying the heck with it. That's why I met that philosophy teacher. So I'm thankful that I met, Dr. DeBrell. So that university, I transferred out of electrical engineering and engineering for 3.5, almost a degree, pretty solid in engineering. But then I transferred into philosophy and political science because I just wanted a quick degree to just get out.
Yeah.
So I got a quick degree and got out, and I couldn't do anything with it because who's going to do? It's ridiculous. I was underwater basket weaving degree.
1,000 years ago, you would have gotten a job in philosophy.
Well, I got a job, but I was making 19,500. I was making 19,500 per year right out of college in 1989.
Okay.
And then the war started breaking out, Desert Storm, and so I was like, I wanted to go into the military anyway, and this job sucks. So I joined the military and I enlisted as a E1.
Yeah.
And they gave me E3 because I had a bachelor's. I enlisted. I was like,
you sound like me, man. I enlisted too with a college degree, and I was E3 like right off the bat, right? Because I was a little bit older. I was put in all these leadership positions, and I didn't know what was going on. I knew I needed to serve my country because that was ingrained in me, and the rest is history. So you enlisted. You know what?
Here, so I would tell you, every CEO out there, if you're a CEO and you want somebody they can lead, what you want is a senior NCO, and you would be at E8 or E9. I would pick one of those two, and one of those two only, because a lot of them get to the E7, but then the leadership really breaks out at E8. So I'd get a senior NCO E8 who had a degree before he joined. You want a ground force shooter and looter that I was actually on the ground leading hundreds of people in combat as an E8.
I like that, shooters and looters, kind of like Grunt, right?
Yeah.
Who was that guy that did Grunt
Shoot,
style?
move, and communicate.
Yeah, shoot, move, and communicate. Adapt and overcome.
SEAL team stuff.
Yeah, I get it, man. So you enlisted in the U.S. Navy, world's finest Navy. I mean, we've got some incredible stuff. And
we do pretty good.
How did you get selected for Navy SEAL? Did you know you want to do that, or they just saw you and they go, "We got to get this
in those
guy"?
days, they didn't have any programs. It wasn't like the what's it called? I don't know what it's called. They had special programs now, and they had special programs that started a little bit after me. But so when my days, you had to just join, knowing you wanted to be a SEAL, and the SEAL team recruiters came to every boot camp class, and they played like a 5-minute video, and they said, "Okay, anybody interested in that?" And it was a video of a bunch of stuff like guys skydiving and scuba diving and running and in boats and all the fun stuff and suntanning on the beach. And it was all this really cool stuff, high speed. And so almost the entire boot camp would go out because next you watch the video, say, all right, and you all want to do that because these guys are in shorts and t-shirts and whistles around their necks. So you know what's going to happen next. They have a clipboard. All right, let's go. You start out with doing the pull-ups and you start out with a run in your jeans and boots. Basically, boondockers and whatever, the dungarees is what they called them. So you bring you out there in a full uniform, basically, with pants and boots, and you had to run
3
a couple of miles.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 miles. And then as soon as you finish 2 miles, you go into sit-ups and push-ups and pull-ups, I think. And you had to do a certain amount on all those. And only 2 people made out of our entire, 3 boot camps to get combined. So 2 of us made it. And so it was me and one other dude. And so we got the orders to go next, right after boot camp, finish your A school, and then go right into SEAL team training. So I became a quartermaster in 3 weeks. I learned how to read navigation charts, and I learned how to do celestial navigation. I learned how to do the sun and navigation using celestial dome over us on a flat plane. And that's the only way celestial navigation works. The only way you can use celestial navigation is you have to start on a flat surface where you are, right, and then use the celestial as a dome and measure the angles and azimuths of all the stars off of your flat plane onto the dome.
That's pretty cool, man. So
it's not what you got spinning behind
right?
you.
It's to give you an accurate location.
Exactly, but you have to do it. It's like all these angles, and if you were on this curve thing and you shoot an angle to an angle, that one curve would mess up your angles. Then you can't do it. You need 3 straight angles. So it's me straight to the horizon straight to the star straight. So everything's straight.
Nice.
Meaning we live on a flat plane. We don't live on a globe.
It's interesting.
And I did it for a living. Yeah. I did navigation, brother. So I did this.
So is the universe flat?
No. The universe is 3-dimensional. So when you say flat, it's not a flat plane like a piece of paper. So I can go into the dimensions with you really quick. So if you take the flat piece of paper and that plane, that's what everybody thinks, that is this kind of flatness, but it's not that kind of flatness. It's flatness where we live, but it's all crooked and mountains and valleys and all that. And then the water is what makes it flat, because the water is inside of a receptacle, and we don't know what the receptacle is shaped like, except that we have a dome over us holding the water and holding all this in.
You know, it's a spiritual universe, God's universe. I believe,
and we're really far off path right now.
Yeah,
but I can bring that back into about what my belief system is and why I'm the prodigal seal.
We're in a different trajectory. That's what you're saying.
Come back in.
We need to come back in. So you're Navy SEAL guy, you're quartermaster, then you go to the Navy SEAL training, which we're told is some of the hardest, crazy stuff on the planet. You're under ship's hulls at nighttime trying to figure stuff out and planting charges and doing small team tactics and halo and jumps and all this kind of interesting stuff.
So it's not the hardest, but it's one of the hardest military
What's
trainings.
the hardest, do you think?
Well, the thing is you can't do that, because that's like comparing me and you. You know, it's like we're both tough, but how do you compare the toughness? So the Rangers go through some real rough training. The Green Berets go through some real rough training. It's all equal, tough. SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets. So I would hold all them. And then you have in the Air Force, they have the PJs and the combat controllers. So those guys equal level toughness.
Even
go to the Russians, they have like 3 or 4 different programs, equal toughness. So every military has a thing at that level, has equal toughness. And why do we want to compare? Give a shout out to somebody, because I'm an Air Force person that always said they were so confused about the Air Force, because the Air Force always kept saying aim high, aim high, aim high, aim high. And I was never taught to aim high. I was always taught, aim center mass. That's a shout out to an Air Force friend of mine who I appreciate.
You aim high, you're going to miss the target.
Don't aim high, man. Aim center mass.
Yeah. You know, I used to see no knock to the Air Force. They're great people too. But we used to make fun of them because they didn't have like CQs, because the Army, they had to watch us, because if they didn't watch us, we were going to do something stupid. So I used to envy the Air Force because they didn't do anything like that.
Yep.
They kind of just let the Air Force run wild, the younger guys.
They were adults.
Yeah.
But they treated them like adults.
Pups, man. I did have good chain of command, and whenever I got in trouble, my NCOs that you alluded to earlier, Chris, they always got me out of trouble. They always, I could go as far as I could, and I did go pretty far a few times, but I never lost rank. And my first sergeants, that's that E8, E9 guy that you're talking about, always hooked me up.
Yes.
And those guys are the guys that make things happen. So you're 1,000% right. So if you're listening, CEOs of big corporations, like Chris said, you want the E8s, you want the E9s. Those are operators, and they will get the job done as long as they understand the mission and believe in it.
Understand the mission and believe in it.
And believe in it. If it's a mission that sucks, you're going to go half-heartedly into it, and a half-hearted mission operator could end up dead. They could end up failing, and we don't want that when we're out.
And I think this is one of the biggest problems with Christians nowadays is they don't truly understand a mission, I don't think, and they also don't believe it, because there's a lot of things in the Bible that they just do not believe. If anybody who's a Christian out there and want to follow what's in the scriptures in the Bible, from Genesis through Revelation, the whole thing, if you want to follow that book and you want to be the person of that book, and you don't believe in a flat earth, well, then you don't believe the words. So you don't believe the Bible, then you're going to be a weak Christian.
And that creates the glitch. And the glitch in the digital world, we'll go back to that, right? We'll talk about it. But the glitch in the digital world is not what they want. So they don't want they don't want critical thinkers. They don't people that don't follow their intuition. Like if somebody tells you something and the hair on the back of your neck goes up and that's BS right off the bat, but you follow it anyways. Heaven forbid, logic and reason or common sense. What's that? We need to be intuitive. We need to be logical. We need to be critical thinkers. We need to not be the glitch, and we need to believe. Perspective is important too, and
we have to see all of it.
We have to see all of it.
And this is a trick that right now in this world is that they only want you to see the checkerboard floor, and the checkerboard floor is on the outside of the temple. And the checkerboard floor, you only have 2 pillars. You have Boaz and you have Joaquin. You have black and you have white, right?
Right.
You have Republicans and Democrats. You have the Redskins and the Cowboys. I don't even know what they're called anymore. But you have all these things who are all battling each other. It's all the Hegelian dialectic, and it's all one thing because it's all on the outside of the temple. So that means everything on the outside on the checkerboard is owned by the same king, and that king is Lucifer. So he owns all of it. He owns the checkerboard. So he owns the Cowboys and the Redskins. He owns the Democrats and the Republicans. He owns the black and the white. He owns all of it. So if you're playing the game of, the breads and circuses, and you're doing all the stuff out here, and you're following for the Hegelian dialectic of good and evil, then you're not inside the temple. Because inside the temple, you go through that door. The door is the Messiah. Once you're inside of that door, you see that the whole thing is oneness and unity. And the Hebrew word is echad. It means that we are one, echad. And the oneness is beyond good and evil. And once you get past the good and evil, you're inside the temple, then you can relax. And that's where I am right now, because I did all the silliness on the outside. I did male and female. I did good and evil. I did motorcycle clubs and cops. I played both sides of the thing at all times. I was good and evil, man. I was a Boaz. I was a pillars. But the thing is when you're a pillar and you're on the outside and you're standing there as a pillar and you're going, I'm a pillar and I'm the tallest pillar in the world because I'm Boaz. And you're looking around and you're really proud of yourself because you're the tallest pillar in the world. But then you look up there and you're looking up there and what's that up there? And then you see the temple for the first time. And you go, what's that? And there's a lot of pillars. They're not as big as me, though. I'm Boaz. I'm the biggest pillar. There's a bunch of pillars there. They're smaller, but they're all in line. And they're holding something up there. And he's, what are they holding up? And somebody goes, that's a roof. And the pillar goes, that's a roof. Well, I don't need a roof. I'm the tallest pillar in the world. And the temple's up there and says, it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's made with the golden ratio. It's a perfect temple. And the door opens up. And what was that? Something just opened. What is that? There's an inside. And he goes, yeah, it's the inside. Well, then he looks at himself and he goes, I don't have anything inside. I'm a pillar. I'm the biggest pillar in the world. I'm Boaz. And he looks up there and sees inside her. He sees fire. What is that? That's fire. That's warm. It gives you warmth. It gives you growth. It does everything for you. Then the door closes. What just happened? The door closed. Well, it's only open certain hours. It's only open on Sabbath and new moons. It's only open at certain times of the day. It's it. You only have a certain thing. There's rules. There are rules. Well, I'm the pillar. I'm the tallest pillar in the world. I'm great. He looks over there and sees Joaquin. Oh, there's another pillar over there. They go to battle because they want to be the tallest. So the black and white are always battling, making each other smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger. It's the pillars battling each other. Well, I'm the biggest pillar. I'm Boaz. Then he sees people going inside the temple, going in the door, going through the door, going through the Messiah into the temple. Well, how are they doing that? I want to do that. Well, you can't do that if you're a pillar. You can't fit through the door. You're a rich man. You can't fit through the eye of the camel. You can't go through that door. You're a pillar. Well, what do I got to do to get through that door? Well, first, you can't be a pillar. You got to be something else. Well, what do I got to be? You got to be nothing. Okay, humility. So he starts learning these things and you get through there. Now I'm going inside the temple. If I'm inside the temple, that means I'm reading the whole scriptures. I'm reading the whole book, and the whole book is true because the whole book is the temple, because that's the Torah, the law, the instructions. It's for me to understand all that. It's writing, right? And I have my scriptures right here. I always have them with me. I have another one in the car. So in case I can run out to the car. So these words, remember I showed you that piece of paper is a two-dimensional. Every word on here is a two-dimensional representation of the Messiah. So if I take all these words in the description of him, and there's a lot more, there's so much more, then the DNA of him and all of it, and I can put it all together, then that becomes a 3D, the word made flesh. The thing is the creator has the whole recipe. So he took the whole recipe and he only gave us enough that we could comprehend. It's not the whole thing. He took the word and made the word flesh. Now the word is flesh walking around right now, right? Because we couldn't understand this. We're reading in 2 dimensions and we're going all willy-nilly and we don't understand what we're doing. So I say, you know what? You guys don't understand the 2 dimensions. So do you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to give you the 3D. I'm going to make the word flesh. I'm going to make it into a man. Have him walk the earth. Have him talk directly to you. I'm going to have him do the miracles that says happen in here that you didn't believe in a 2D. So he had him walk the earth for 30 years. And while he was walking the earth, he taught us a lot. And what he taught us was how to become 5D. The 5D is where we want to go.
And the people killed him.
And they killed him for it because he told the truth.
Yeah.
And all he did was take what they said they believed, because the people of the book killed him.
The living word. One thing that you just made me think about when you said it a minute ago, you talked about oneness, right? And I'm going to share something with you, but so I've got
so you have to learn Hebrew also if you want to really be a person of the book.
Yeah.
If you don't learn Hebrew, you're not
we're
going to
talk about your shirt in a second, but so this person gives me this crystal. I don't fall down and I don't, kneel to it and I don't do anything with this crystal.
That's fine. You're good.
But what's interesting about this crystal is there's a red mark in it. And the red
Nice.
mark is iron, right?
Okay.
The same chemical component is found in my blood.
Yes.
It's found in your blood. The same element.
Yes.
And it's found in the fusion that's taking place on the sun right now. All those little bitty stars out there that have been created. The same thing that's in this crystal, Chris, is in your heart. It's in my heart, and it's in every freaking star in the sky.
It really is.
Which means that we are all part of the creation.
Yes.
And that we are all one, and we are truly one. And man, because of power and greed and the 7 deadly sins, people don't want to hear that, right? But it's the truth. Yeah. When you tell people the truth, it's amazing how many people dislike you or they find a way not to be around you, right? But you brought that to life. You gave a little lesson in 2-dimensional words brought to 3D. Yeah. And then 5D.
Hey, you want a great thought right now? Can I add something to that?
No, absolutely.
Because this is important, man.
Go ahead.
Because then we can go back to the oneness that you had. But this is one of the verses that drives me crazy. How Christians really mess us up. Here it is. It's in Colossians 2:16-17. Go to that. So it basically says, "Let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and drink, or with regard to a festival or new moon or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of things to come." So it's the one where they use the same verse when Peter has a sheet of all the animals lower down, and that's in Acts 10. When he has all the animals on the sheet and it's a vision, he lowers the sheet with all these animals, and he says, "God has made clean, do not call common." So those two ideas right there. Now think of this. And there's another one that says, "What comes out of your mouth, let no man judge you in meat or drink, and what comes out of your mouth is what defiles you, not what goes in your mouth." And then they say, "I can eat whatever I want. I can eat swine," because he says, whatever comes out of your mouth is the only thing that defiles you. So I can put anything I want in my mouth. It doesn't mean he made everything clean. It means that we can do disgusting stuff. Our words that come out of our mouth can sometimes be gross. So what this really means is the Father, the Creator, is the creator of all things. And he's beyond time, he's beyond space, and he's beyond matter. Because if he was time, then what time is he? He has to be all time. He has to be past time. If he's matter, and what part of matter is he? Because he's everything. He has to be all of it, but not like one specific thing, because that would make it not everything. Because you can't have a set. It's set theory, man. It's all set theory. He is the biggest set, and everything is inside of him. Right?
Omnipotent.
If he was only a smaller set, then he couldn't be the set of everything, because then he couldn't be something that is not him. And he has to be time and space and matter before any of that even existed, because he can't be space if there's no matter, and he can't be matter if there's no space, because where would you put it? You can't have time before you have that, because then where would you put it within the time frame? So he's so much bigger than that. So that's where I want you to go with this, is the creator of all things is the unity, and he's the set theory, the big set, which doesn't even have a set, because it goes past set. It goes beyond set.
It's almost beyond comprehension, and that's why I think they had why they had to.
And he's not even a he. We just use he for the ease of conversation. Well, like so a lot of things we say is just for ease of conversation. Like we call him a creator, we call him this. He is the biggest set, and he's beyond set. We agree right there, right?
Right.
At one point. Okay, so now, how could something of the creator of his that he gives us would defile us, would make us ultimately disgusting in his sight? In the end, it can't be. We end up having to be clean, that everything. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about you eating poop. He's saying that he made all this, and in the end, that poop is still only molecules at the molecular level, and down at the quantum level, it's just energy, and that's him. So nothing can defile you. So in the end, if somebody says, "Well, I cursed like this sackcloth. You can't wear this sackcloth because it's been cursed." Well, that's ridiculous. that crystal you held up right there, that crystal cannot defile you, because that crystal in any way, in the end, because that's still him. It's inside the set.
It's inside the set.
Right?
It's all right there. No, it's true. And people go,
and
oh,
that's what he's talking about. He's not talking about you eating
Yeah.
swine. He's not talking, and it's all parables, and it's all like this deep philosophy that they belittle and they turn it into. Well, he said that nothing that goes in my mouth can defile me. It's only things that come out of my mouth. Well, dude, you brought it down to you said he's talking about swine. He's talking about you personally eating pig. That's what he's talking about. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about that he is the beyond set of sets. He's the set of sets. He's all of it. And what he's saying is that what comes out of your mouth, because he made us in the image of him. What we come out of our mouths is creation. So I can say some things to you right now that are so disgusting and so bad it come out of my mouth, and the vibrational frequencies of that will be in your mind like a mind virus, and that is what defiles me.
See,
what comes out of my mouth and my vibration, what I create, is what defiles me.
Well, you said a few things. Let me backtrack here. What I like is you said energy, right? Vibrational states, frequencies. And these human emotions. So we operate at these frequencies.
Yes.
And those lower freaks, the ones that are like hatred and anger and mistrust and dishonesty, those are all like lower vibrational states. And yes,
100%.
They're all within the set.
Yeah.
But then we get to, and I said this at the outset, Chris, philosophy, critical thinking, higher consciousness. But there's a bust-off point. There's a break-off point. This is what I think. There's an emotion called courage. And courage has two things that drive it: faith and belief.
Yes.
And once a human being reaches that courage state and has that diehard faith and that diehard belief.
And how much can you hold in your shoulders?
They're invincible.
How much faith and how much belief and how much you doing with all that?
And not cocky about it. I'm not
and
talking
truth.
arrogance.
Like holding truth on my shoulders. And I'm telling you right now, the earth is flat, and that's a truth that I hold on my shoulders, because my faith is at that level that the scriptures. I have faith in the scriptures to the level where I have truth in me that the earth is flat, and there's no convincing me otherwise.
And man is always trying to, I'm saying this rhetorically, but man is always trying to explain things that go against the truth. Or that try to poke holes in the truth.
Or just make fun of you and do that. But I have enough courage that truth is on my shoulders. I don't care how much fun they make of me. I know it's flat. You're not going to take it from me.
Right.
There's a lot of things out of the scriptures that I believe that you might not believe, because I've taken it to a level within Gnosticism. I'm not a Gnostic, and I'm not a Gnostic Judaizer, but Gnosticism is knowledge. And I do pursue knowledge. And so if knowledge is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm going to pursue it. If knowledge is in the Epic of Gilgamesh, I'm going to pursue it. And I pursued all of them. The Emerald Tablets, I pursued all of them, and I dialed them all down until I find the truth. And I found much truth in some of those, but I found a lot of truth in the scriptures.
Well, that's the thing, is that the truth will set you free.
It does.
And the truth cuts like a knife too. And like I was saying before, is that
it'll make you lonely.
It'll make you lonely, man. And I mean, yeah, that's a whole different episode of something, but loneliness.
So those passages that the Christians use, and they twist the passages. They twist Paul, they twist Peter, and they have to understand that they're taking one verse, they cherry pick a verse right out of the center, and they didn't read before it. If they would have read the verses before that verse, they would have said, lest man any use enticing words to trick you. Do this, do this, do this. And it gives you all the things you need to do. Then a few verses later, it says, lest any man it says enticing words, and then it does it with some other deceit and deceiving things. Do this, do this, do this. Then it says, lest any man judge you by saying this and this and this. So what it's given you is all the things that they try to do. So when someone else is judging you, that's an evil tactic. They're judging you and making fun of you because of how you're doing the Sabbath. To make you not do Sabbath. They're judging you to make you not do feast. But the thing is, I know I'm screwing up. I know I'm not doing Sabbath right.
We're instructed to test the scriptures.
Yeah.
We're instructed to search the scriptures.
Yeah.
And we're instructed to be obedient to the scriptures.
Yes.
And
obey the scriptures. That's all.
Totally believe what you say, Chris, that the scriptures have been taken. Yeah. People died because of the scriptures.
And cherry pick verses out and they twist them.
Yeah, that I mean that for their own to their own detriment in the end,
Yeah.
really. But
That's in James, I think. He
God
writes
bless
that.
them, man. That's all I can
Yeah.
say is
Because he
God
said
bless
they're
them
going to twist Paul's writings. I'm pretty sure it's James. He said they're going to twist Paul's writings to their own
destruction to their own destruction.
destruction.
Well,
Yeah.
let's get to the prodigal seal.
So Prodigal Seal. I
Let's
grew up as
get
a Christian
let's
and
do
I
that.
fell
Right,
way,
right.
way away.
But give me 3 or 5 reasons why somebody wants to read your book that's soon to come out.
Okay, Prodigal Seal. I went from X generation outcast, kind of living in the woods, whacked by my dad a lot and by all the teachers and everything else. So pretty hardcore growing up. That a lot of you had the same thing. I grew up as isolated and kind of I got bullied a lot, but then I got to be a fighter and I started defending the kids that were bullied. And a lot of you all did the same thing. So I did a lot of things that you're going to like recognize. Then I joined the military and I became a Navy SEAL. And when I was in the SEALs, I made it to SEAL Team 6. And I've got a whole bunch of stories in the book about SEAL teams and about how these SEAL team stories shaped me into who I was. But the thing was when I was growing up, I grew up as a Christian and I was very much into reading the Bible. And I was very biblical. And even in SEAL teams, I was pretty squared away. So I was on a pretty good, nice path, right? But then after the SEALs, I retired and I started wearing a dress. And I went into the transgender cult for a little while. And that's more stories and how I fell into that. And then there's more stories in this book about how I got out of it and how I was able to defeat the ego, the narcissism of a Navy SEAL. Now, why did I even become transgender? Well, I thought I could do it. Like I was a narcissist. I had a lot of ego. I had massive ego. And how did I defeat that ego? And how did I defeat the whole thing about the demons and the things that were in me about in a motorcycle club and beating up people just left and right and doing whatever I wanted to do in a motorcycle club? Those stories were in there. I was living with the pigs as a prodigal son in the story of the Bible. I was doing really bad stuff. And those stories were in this book. And a lot of those stories, you did the same thing. Now, how did I get out of that? And how I got out of it is the story of the prodigal seal. I was a seal and I was on a good path to do good things. I was making $200,000 a year. I had all kinds of friends. I was doing whatever I wanted. I was there in the White House shaking hands with Donald Trump. So I had a lot going on for me. And then I put a dress on, and I lost everything. And I became living in the filth. That's the prodigal seal.
One thing, and I'm not gonna. This is maybe a clue, but one thing that I want people to know is I think we interviewed you and I had a conversation like the day or two
Yeah.
after you had a surgery when you were detransitioning, right?
Yes.
And I remember you distinctly, and I felt it and saw it, even though we were like digital,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You talked about the children.
Yeah.
And I think that there was a
It's a big part of it.
nexus there of what you remembered, and you talked about loneliness. But I think there was a nexus that you could somehow feel what those kids were going through, that
Yeah.
transgender cult thing, and that you had a synapse,
Yes.
and that is not a bad thing. Synapse can be good because it
Oh, I
means
had a
your
wake
brain's
up.
working.
I
Yeah.
had a smack in the face.
And it was like what I took away from our conversation, Chris, was you
Mhm.
thought about the kids.
Yep.
And I remember thinking this when I was with Dan. We were with Dan, the Vietnam vet guy. I still talk to him, but and you did it when we got off that interview. He said that the dude is doing it for the kids. He's doing that detransition and that new trajectory in life because of what is going on
Yeah.
with the kids.
Yeah.
And that maybe that's in the new book. I don't know. But you that to me made everything come full circle, man.
Yeah.
Whatever you got involved with, people don't need to know the details. What happened was you had to go through that fire
Yeah.
to be the philosopher. And I'm not messing around with you, to be the philosopher, not that of what God wants you to be.
Yeah.
And you can't
Yeah.
serve God by serving your narcissism. I'm
You
trying to
can.
extrapolate this from your journey,
Oh yeah.
and not to make light of any of that. That is a serious, and the only person that could go through that and write the Prodigal
Yeah.
Seal
Yes. And like, how could somebody like all the college, like I had college and intelligence and smarts, and I was strong. I was strong physically and strong mentally in the SEAL teams. I had all these strengths. And they say, well, if you're so strong, how did they trick you into it? I said, well, it's not like tricking. And it's nothing like anybody could ever really understand. And that's why it's so horrible to do it to kids. It's a real steady dripping of the water on your forehead.
Yeah.
It's that slow drip. It's the death of 1,000 cuts. And that's why the real big wake up was like the drag queen story hour, was when you have drag queens going in and reading stories to kindergarten kids, and first and second graders. Yeah. It's like, why? Why do they do that? Do professional athletes do story hour? Do the football coaches and all the coaches do story hour? Does anybody else do story hour? What name, like firemen do it? Do police do it? Like what other group of people do story hour? And is it based on sex?
Which is a powerful.
It doesn't make any sense.
Cool. You know what I mean? Not to put it bluntly, but
it's clearly a cult. And it's a cult that uses brainwashing and love bombing, especially. And it uses normalization. It uses so many little tricky tactics and little things that they do to just soften up the environment. And they've been softening up the environment since the 60s, And the thing is like, hey, right on, man. If you want to do that in a privacy of your house, man, that's all you. If you want to eat swine, privacy of your house, man, go for it.
I was raised live and let live. And if you want to do something,
and that's the way we were,
then just do it. Don't do it. But when it started, and I'm a couple of years older than you, but when it started to be put down people's throats, and then censorship and all this canceling nonsense, and people passing judgment on people, and it got weird, man. And I think the pendulum's swinging. Yep. But I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for the story to be able to help you share, because I think that it's vitally important to a healthier planet, to God's planet. And if we don't do it, then your whole life has been for naught. And I'm saying that to be real. If we don't take the evil things, the bad things, the things that aren't right that we know in our own souls, and turn them into something good, then God's wasted his time with us, man.
Yes.
And I'd hate to get there to the very end and say,
and what are all these lessons for?
What did I go through that?
These lessons make no sense.
Thank you for doing that. When is that book going to be out?
It'll be out like in the next 2 to 4 weeks, something like in there. We have a lot of broken tools, and we're just breaking more people because we have broken tools.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to fix the tools.
Get your book done, man. Let's go.
There you go. All right, man.
I appreciate you.
I love you, brother, man. You're awesome.
Love you too, man.
It was great talking to you. Talk to you later, bro.
Thank you, Chris.
Graduate.